So now we're discussing what is the electrical nature of the human body. Basically, the body communicates through the electrochemical signals, such as the nerve cells, which are the neurons, transmit the signals using the small electrical impulses called action potentials. Muscles fibers, which contract when they receive electrical signals from the nerves. These signals depend on the movement of ions, such as the sodium, potassium, calcium, chlorine, across the cell membrane. So, resting membrane potential, which we call the RMP. At rest, a neuron or muscle cell has a negative charge inside compared to the outside, right? So there is the average RMP, which is the 70 volt neurons. This is due to the unequal ion distribution, selective membrane permeability, and the sodium potassium pump cation channels. So, action potential is how electrical signals are generated. So, when a stimulus, which is basically maybe a natural or artificial, is strong enough, so there will be the depolarization mechanism occur. For example, the sodium's channels open, the sodium rushes into the cell, and inside become the more positive charge of the cell. The next one is the repolarization, in which the potassium channel opens, the potassium move out from the cell, and the cell returns to the negative state. And third one is the refractory periods, in which cell cannot respond to another stimulus immediately, right? So there is some electrical stimulation in our body. Electrical stimulation is a therapeutic technique that use control electrical currents to influence the biological tissues, which helping with pain relief, muscles rehabilitations, and even neurological recovery. It works by mimicking the body natural electrical signals, triggering the physiological response that can be harnessed by medical and research purposes. So there are types of electrical stimulation. The first is TENS, which is the transcutaneous electrical nerve stimulation. It has been used for pain relief by stimulating the sensory nerves. Second one is the EMS. It is also known as the NMES, which is the electrical muscle stimulation. So it stimulates the muscles contractions to strengthen the weak or inactive muscles. The third one is the FES, which is the functional electrical stimulation. It helps to restore the functional movements in patterns in patients with paralysis or nerve damage. The fourth one is the TMS, which is the transcranial magnetic stimulation, where the uses of magnetic field to stimulate the brain region for neurological disorders. The fifth one is the TDCS, which is the transcranial direct current stimulation, in which we apply the low intensity current to modify the brain activity and the cognition. So there is different equipments and setups. For example, electrical stimulation devices consist of the power source, control units, electrodes placed on skin and scalp, and adjustable intensity and frequency setting. So there is some parameters of the electrical stimulations. The effective of stimulations depend on the current types, which may be AC or DC, the frequency, which may be determine the nerve or a muscle's response, the intensity, the strength of the electrical currents, the pulse duration, which is the length of the each impulse, and the treatment time, which is the duration of the stimulation session. So there is some physiological basis, which we call the physiological basis of the stimulation. First one is the nervous system mimicry. For example, electrical stimulations replicate the signals that the nerve system used to communicate, causing muscles to contract or nerves to fire. The second one is the cellular interactions. For example, current alter the ion flows across the cell membrane, influencing the stability and the signaling. The third one is the neuroplasticity, which response the stimulation can encourage the brain and spinal cords to rewire, aiding the recovery after injury. So, what is the mechanism of action? First of all, muscles contraction. For example, electrodes placed on the skin deliver impulse that active motor neurons strengthen weak muscle. The second step is the pain modulation. Stimulating the sensory nerves can block the pain signals or trigger the endorphins release. The third one is the circulation's improvements. For example, rhythmic contraction enhance the blood flow, reducing the swelling and promoting the healing. And the fourth one is the tissue repair, in which the low level current may accelerate the wound healing by stimulating the cellular activity. So there is some therapeutic applications. For example, rehabilitation centers restore the muscle strength and coordinations. For example, stroke recovery, spinal cord injury. There is some therapeutic applications such as the pain managements, like block pain pathways, release the endorphins. For example, chronic back pain or the arthritis. Some other applications such as the sports medications like the speed recovery, reduce the fatigue, for example, muscles soreness, injury rehab. Or some neurological applications such as enhance the neuroplasticity, for example, in case of the Parkinson's or multiple sclerosis. In the case of cardiology applications such as the regulate the heart rhythms, for example, pacemakers and defibrillators. So there is some advantages of the electrical stimulation, such as the non-invasive and drug-free therapy, reduce the brain and the muscles weakness, enhance the rehabilitation outcome, and improve the circulations and the healing. There's also some risk and limitations. For example, the skin irritations from the electrodes. Improper use may cause the muscles fatigue or the burns, or the it may be the contraindications not suitable for the patients with the pacemakers, epilepsy, or certain heart conditions. Effectiveness varies depend on the condition's severity and the patient's response. There is some safety and ethical considerations such as the ethical or electrical stimulation must be used under professional guidance. Patient's consent is necessary before the treatments. Long-term effects of some brain stimulation techniques are still under the research, and the ethical use is essential to avoid the misuse or over dependency. Some research frontiers are present, for example, brain stimulation, TMS, and TCS, exploring the cognitive enhancement and treatments of the depression. Bioelectronic medicine, using the electrical signals to regulate the organ functions. Wearable devices such as the portable stimulators for home therapy and sport recovery. So, as a concluding marks, electrical stimulations bridge biology, physics, and the medicines, offer promising therapeutic and the research applications. Future potential spans for pain relief to neuro rehabilitations and beyond. This is all about the neuron stimulations in our body. Thank you so much.